If you have a question, be sure you just unmute yourself.
I have a question, Stuart.
Yes.
Is there such thing as meditating too much?
Yes. Yes. I mean, look, what I suggest, okay, you sit down at home 20 minutes to a half hour, once, maximum twice a day, and you attend meditation classes. Now, this is not an exorbitant amount of time. This is nothing fanatical. I mean, in this particular class, there are 3 classes a week. And then every day you find a place, you set up maybe a little altar, that's your little sacred place in your house. And you go there for 20 minutes, a half hour a day. And if you really do it, if you really open, if you're not sitting there just thinking, that energy will last you for, you'll get energy for a week just sitting there for a half hour a day. And that's what I suggest. I mean, there are other people, you get up at 4 a.m, you meditate till 7, you have breakfast and you meditate. This meditation is a very powerful meditation. And if you do it in depth, it will give you an enormous amount of energy. And it doesn't require any kind of fanatical way of approaching your spiritual life. I know in Zazen, they sit for 12 hours. If you move a finger, they smack you across the head. I mean, I never could understand that type of thing. And I'm not judging it. I'm just saying it's what people do. So what I suggest in this meditation is, look, there are 3 classes a week. Class lasts maybe an hour maximum. And, do your meditation every day for 20 minutes to a half hour. And I think that will not encompass your time, your life. You'll have time to work, time for family, time for friends, time to have a social life, to go to the movies, to go out and have dinner. I mean, all of this is part of being alive. And at the same time, sitting down 20 minutes, a half hour on your own will give you energy. And as you compound that over time, you can't imagine the amount of energy you get in 5 years, 10 years, doing this. Look, I'm not a young man anymore. And yet what I do is the work of a young man. How can I do this? It's the meditation over a very long period of time, but not fanatically. Doing what I need to do to build my chakra and sustain and refine the chakra system, build it. And even now this thing is growing, and I'm asking for help in every class to give me the strength to be able to support what is taking place. I never take it for granted that I have arrived. Because once you take it for granted that you've arrived, your life is over. Real growth is in just that. I mean, who can encompass the totality of God's energy? Nobody. So there's always room to grow. There's always room to expand, to get more conscious, to develop yourself. And how do you do it? The only way I have found ever to do it is development of a chakra system. Keep expanding and strengthening it and opening. So that's what I suggest, I mean, there are other teachers, they have their suggestions, and I'm not competing with anybody. So I suggest, every day, sit down for 20 minutes, a half hour, either in the mornings, the evenings, or whenever is a convenient time for you. Set up a little space in your house that is a sacred space. Have a picture of a teacher, light a few candles, whatever you have to do to make it sacred. And do your inner work. Say, okay, it's now 5 o'clock in the evening. Everything else be damned. I'm going to sit down and do my inner work. It's now time for class. Okay, I got this and that. That people have to understand. I mean, look, I've said it many times. I used to run a pretty high-tone business in the art business, and I'd have very wealthy clients and people that would spend a lot of money with me. They'd call me up and say, look, I want to come by your loft at about 7 o'clock in the evening. And I would say, I can't do it at 7 o'clock. I have to teach a meditation class. You know? And I'm not talking about $10. I'm talking, a lot of money. People coming to look at art to spend, and I never lost a client. Every single person respected the fact that I would take that hour between 7 and maybe 8:15 in the evening those days and do my inner work and they might not have agreed with it. It might not be part of their religious belief, but they respected it. And they would set up times at other times to come and do it. So what I'm saying is, if you really need to do your inner work, there are no excuses. There's always time to do it. There's always time. And the excuses are, they're just excuses not to sit down and do your work on yourself. Well, I got to go to the movies. I got a date. I got to, this. I got a chorus. I got to, something, And it just detracts from, sitting and working on yourself. No, I'm not saying we're fanatical. Yeah, things interfere and family things you got to do. And okay, you do them. But at the same time, if your need is real, I mean, I'm telling you, I always use the metaphor of Moses with his wand and the Red Sea parts. Things become possible that you never dreamed could be possible in your life. That's really true. You're suddenly going through the parted Red Sea to the promised land. I mean, and I find that I remember when I was a kid, I used to work as a waiter in New York, bartender, waiter, restaurants, and I never could get a job where it was the hours I wanted to work. It was always, well, we have available, boom, 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 boom. And I remember I started studying with Rudy. And going to his classes were really important to me because I had never found a teacher who taught the kind of things he was teaching me. And I never felt inner growth like the kind of growth that was taking place in my life. And I remember I needed a job. I was down to my last $10 or something, And I walked into a restaurant and I said, do you need a waiter? He said, yes, we have opening. And the manager looked at me and said, well, what days and hours do you want to work? I couldn't believe my ears. It was extraordinary. So I told him, it's okay. We'll fit you in the schedule, those days and hours. And I was able to go to every one of Rudy's classes. And it taught me an amazing thing, how the universe, when you need a spiritual life, the universe begins to work for you. It provides you with money. It provides you with all the things you need to live during the day. And it provides you with opportunities to truly do your inner work. It really does. It works for you. It works against you when you're congested with all your opinions and mind and tensions and insecurities. And then the universe doesn't work for you. You don't give it a chance to work for you. But if that need is real inside a person, it's like Moses and the Red Sea. The wave, suddenly it opens and things become available you never dreamed could be available to you. I was talking to Jennifer yesterday about starting a program in some prisons that are not far from where we live. And it's just a new opportunity to do something to grow it. It'd be great for her to go and teach in it, because I spent years teaching in those places. It was incredible how much I grew. So, things open up. Inspiration comes, but one has to have a priority of serving God, opening himself. And then all the rest of it just falls in place. I mean, they provided me with a business that always allowed me to teach meditation class. My business, my art business, never ever interfered with teaching class. In fact, everything around us in the meditation area was my business. It was all tankas and, sculptures and art from Asia. And, it made the energy in the loft 5 times stronger. So I hope that's clear. I mean, you can do too much meditation. I don't back sitting 22 hours a day and meditating. It's just going to space you out and, sit down a half hour a day. Do this work. Use the breath and the mind to develop your chakra system, your will to grow, your need to grow. Do it every day. And get your mind quiet. First time I ever sat down to do this on my own, I couldn't sit for 5 minutes. My mind was so active. But after weeks of doing it, I suddenly began to get quiet inside, centered, more balanced, and I was able to sit for a half hour and do it. So that's what I suggest. I hope it works for you. It certainly has worked for me. Does anyone else have a question I would like to ask? And then the biggest sin, which they've never put in the 7 deadly sins, is procrastination. It should be the 8th deadly sin. I go to class in 2 weeks. I don't know, and it's just, a way of putting off everything you have to do in order to grow. And most people spend their lives procrastinating. And then having to invest time and energy, not necessarily in things you really want to do, but in what makes you grow. Frankly, I wish I could have all of you sitting in my apartment doing this in person than sitting in front of a computer. I really do. But this is what God has made available. And it seems to be working. It's growing. People are coming from all over the world. And it's not my favorite thing to do. But it's working. It's growing. The energy is really strong. And I do this like 7 classes a week, plus healing classes I'm doing with people now via Zoom. And, it's like, it's working. So I do it. Because I've learned you've got to do what works. Not what you want to do, what works, but really God provides. When I started doing in-person classes, last couple of weeks, 1 person has shown up. That to me is staggering, I mean, most of you are living in, 3,000 miles away from here. But people that live close to take advantage of that, So then I decided, start doing classes in prisons. And if we can start that, I can go there, 2-3 times a month. And, Jennifer can use it to grow in her life, and I can go and have in-person classes with inmates, Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
I have another question, if I may.
Yes, Lisa.
Do you remember your last moment with Rudy, and what was it like?
I was holding his hand. He was dictating a book that he was writing, and the last sentence was a deepest sense of surrender. And I heard the pilot of the airplane scream, "Oh my God," and we hit a mountain.
Oh, okay.
That was my last moment with Rudy.
Holy, okay.
Yeah, and the only reason I'm alive today is he put his soul force inside. He's the reason how could you survive a crash hitting a mountain? I mean, it's ridiculous. His soul, I was holding his hand and his soul just came right into me and kept me alive. I tell you something I don't like to say, but I'll say it. When he used to go to India and travel to different ashrams, I would help him out in store set with his mother, in his gallery. And one day I'm sitting there and she said, "Stuart, I shouldn't tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this." He said, "The day you and Rudy met, Rudy came to me and said, 'I think I have found somebody I can pass my work on to.'" Finally, that's what he said to us. And he didn't tell me this. His mother told me this. I mean, it literally brought tears to my eyes,
Mm-hmm.
And his patience and his love, his willingness to nurture this crazy kid who came into his life. I mean, to me, it's just extraordinary. And I told somebody yesterday, that's why I do what I do today, out of sheer gratitude to Rudy, to Nityananda, to also Kala Rinpoche, who was important, although I only met him once for a very short period of time. He was very important in my life. And Nityananda, who I've never met, who's my spiritual grandfather, who's taken me through so many difficult situations.
I was wondering, seeing that I'm in Belgium, and I would love to study more with you, but of course the distance is
twice. I came to Belgium. I did retreats there, just near Brussels. Oh yeah, twice. And yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the town. It was a little city outside of Brussels, maybe a 10-minute train ride from Brussels. And I did two retreats there. Yeah. But I, to be honest, Issa and everyone else, in 2019, I told you this, I traveled, I was in Belgium, I was in all over I think I was in Brazil 3 times, in that year or something like that, and all over the United States. And I got very sick. And I had to have a major operation in a hospital. And I said, well, I'm not going to do this anymore. I can't do this. It'll kill me if I continue living this way. So I stopped. Now I'm having a retreat in February here. I'm going to have another one in April, here.
Yeah.
And people are invited. If you don't want to take advantage, there's nothing I can do about it, If it's a money problem, learn how to make money. Really, I learned how to make money. Rudy told me, buy that building. It's a shopping center. I had $600 I raised the money to buy the building. Learn how to be mature in life and to make things work for you, It's all energy. And if you grow inside, you get the energy to make things work.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean this, but I'm not going to travel like that anymore. I can't do it. It almost killed me.
No. Yeah.
I mean, I had a major operation the day that Rudy passed on, the 21st of February. And I remember lying there before they took me. And I said to these doctors that were all gathered around, I said, this is the most special day of my life. I told them this. And I told them, my spiritual teacher passed on this day. You guys do your job. I have work to do on the earth. I told them this. You know, they did their job. And I remember I'm lying in the recuperating, and the doctor came in, one of the doctors, and I said to him, you know, the food is terrible here. You know, how can one eat this stuff? And he went downstairs and he brought me really a tea and, you know, this and that, and sandwiches. And it was incredible. I really started to laugh. Came up and I said, thank you. He said, well, I got to keep you alive. He told
me. Yeah.
Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, just one last thing. I'm every week I'm publishing on my website one of these Tantra little essays, and there's another one that was published on Friday. And I'm hoping you're going to read these things because they're really interesting. I'm enjoying writing them. They're taking my writing to another level, and I like that. So it's for you to benefit. It's for me to benefit. I hope we'll take advantage of it. And God bless you all. And as I tell you in every class, you know, I am not the teacher here. You were my teacher. Just as maybe I am your teacher, you were my teacher. And I'm here to learn and to grow and to expand myself and to take care of my responsibilities to God. So God bless you all and thank you. And there'll be a class on Tuesday, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.